Where, you ask, can I stroll through beautiful dense woodland and enjoy a wonderfully romantic, gothic atmosphere? Well, funny you ask. I was just thinking of going to Nunhead Cemetery. Ishmael in Moby Dick, he takes to the sea when he gets his weird weariness or dryness about the mouth, whatever affliction that falls upon him when the world becomes a little bit stale. Well, some of us take to the cemetery instead. There does come a point in which even the thought of money makes no sense, and you look at $1 and you think, what good is this? What good does this do me? Not at all. When there exists a cemetery that you can walk in for free and simply exist on certain days like today, a cup of coffee is enough. To go get this cup of coffee, it's perhaps best that we take the long way around through the cemetery. Now, I thought that you and I could go together and go explore this little town called Nunhead. That's right, it's the head of a nun, literally. There's a pub with a head of a nun. The apartment next to it is for sale. So if you want to live next to the Nun's Head here in the greater city of London in the UK, it is available at the time of this recording. One of the places that I like to go get a cup of coffee to make me feel like a living, breathing, normal human being that isn't feral and has no problems at all is Nunhead. I love this place. It's really cute and weird. In fact, if you are a freak, you might like this place because it's it's like 94% nice and good vibe, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 6% heebie-jeebies. It's 6% someone's watching me. And I find that little 6% of am I alone here is fantastically dynamic and works wonders for the immune system. It makes you feel like an animal, like you're really, really alive and you're in a place that's real. There is no HR department to protect you. It's just dead people. A lot of dead people. But also, I saw a bakery that sells World Cup gingerbread men, go England, and gingerbread men with gumdrop buttons. Literal gumdrop buttons. How cute is that? I really like this place. It's not what you would call posh. It is not touristy. It's just a little neighborhood. So nobody visiting England would ever think to go here. But it's one of my favorite places because it is what it is. So it takes me a couple of trains to get here, but it's pretty peaceful in the morning. So I take a couple of trains to Nunhead Station. I really like Nunhead Station. It's small. It's just got a few platforms, and it has a really beautiful archway for some reason outside. And when you arrive, you see this sign that says Nunhead, and you know you're here. You know you're here from the little heebie-jeebie feeling, but it's so minor. It's like a little splash of lime in a cocktail. It's signature heebie-jeebiness. And in fact, look, the weirdness continues. So in order to get to the cemetery, you walk through what is essentially this housing place. It's very English. It's that kind of warm honey brick and these kind of offshoot mud rooms or sunrooms. You might turn a corner and there might be a person and you get scared and then you continue on your way. You'll know that you reached the cemetery. You can't make this up when you see a giant flock of black crows circling and flying over it. Dead serious, the sign that says, "Do you want to walk in dense woodland with gothic atmosphere?" is correct, because immediately upon arrival, you are met with the squawking sound of crows and the beautiful sound of wind through the trees. Now, on this particular day, I was also met with the sound of a leaf blower, which, if you know what a leaf blower sounds like, you know what I mean. This is ASMR. So this is a relaxing video, so you won't hear any sounds, but if you are trying to get away from Microsoft Outlook and Teams notifications, and you go out in nature and you encounter a leaf blower, the leaf blower is like the Teams notification of the natural world. It's awful. It just makes you think, what's the point? It makes you want to crawl into bed. But what's fun about this particular moment is that the leaf blower had this effect of creating a kind of fake mist of dust and grime and germs that had the most beautiful gothic effect. And so I did, for a brief second, romanticize and feel that I was walking through haunted woods of Scotland or something like that, even though it was just the leaf blower dust. Nunhead Cemetery is just beautiful and majestic and perfect. The graves are massive. There are huge monuments and all kinds of ye old names and dates to be found. You could spend days here and you would never tire of detail. You would never tire of seeing these graves in the statuary and many dogs. It's actually wonderful to be walking through and then having some old senior schnauzers and pugs breathing and snorting alongside you. Nunhead Cemetery is really one of my favorite places ever of all time, and a lot of people don't go here necessarily unless they're gothic freaks, in which case people will travel to come here and people will take amazing photographs. Some of them Nunhead website actually posts and puts up to display, so you can take photos. You can have a very glamorous gothic photo shoot and send it to the cemetery, and the cemetery will post it. So you can see how a hardened heart is instantly healed by being in the cemetery. I do think that more people should visit Nunhead if they get the chance. A lot of people go to Highgate Cemetery, one of the more famous cemeteries of London, notably because Karl Marx has a grave there, and perhaps we can go there next if you would like. We can go visit Karl Marx if you want, and get a coffee there, I suppose. But that's a little too much for today. We need to put Karl Marx to the side because this cemetery is about lying low. We are in a part of London, it's tucked away, and we are just having a wonderful and relaxing time. If you're missing the sensationalism of Karl Marx's giant head as a tombstone, might I point out that there is a grave here that's decorated for Christmas. Yes. Similarly delightful. Might I interest you in that? I think this is looking pretty good. There are a lot of trails here. So the whole cemetery is kind of a loop with these various branches and one long path through the middle. Now, these trails are lovely because you can go off where there are no people, and in fact, most of the time I was here, I was able to pass people and just be on my own. Sound is absorbed nicely, so you're very tucked away. And it's very quiet. The trails, they kind of meander on. And you might find yourself in an offshoot or in a pocket of particularly dilapidated graves. And you can stand for a while and listen and enjoy and soften into this twilight world. Sometimes I see people reading books here. Sometimes people talk on the benches. Some people come to photograph the stones. Others come to eat sandwiches. And sometimes a group called the Friends of Nunhead Cemetery are out here, and they sell postcards and they do tours and educational things. And that's always really lovely to see, but they weren't here today. So it was just us walking around. There's an incredible mix of quite humble graves. Some of them are very dramatic. And like I said before, you could really spend all day here looking at the graves and finding particular details of interest. This place is truly enough. You can walk right into it and walk around. It has everything you need. This place is enough. There's certainly no striving, there's certainly no hustling and figuring anything out. It's just perfect as it is, overgrown and old. It's totally enough. It's a perfect container for the dead and the living. It holds the animals that live here. In fact, a sign up front said that there are 60 species of birds that live in this cemetery. That's 60. Many of them heard but not seen. Their feathers are sometimes on the ground, and you can get a sense of the diversity. It's just a perfect place that immediately clarifies values. It shoves everything that doesn't matter to the corner, and what's brought forward is an immense appreciation for life. The intentionality, and I really mean that, the intentionality and care that goes into allowing something to be wild in the right way. And you'll see in the cemetery that there are parts that are very kept, quite trim and quite neat, and then there are parts that are wild. And it's a just excellent balance and a reminder that we often sterilize the world around us and optimize the world around us. And when we see something that's kind of falling apart, or it's crooked, or it's this symbol of neglect in our culture or in our societies, it means there's inequality. It means something's gone wrong. But here, something's going very right. It means that things are growing and becoming new. I have a particular affinity for places like this that kind of allow a certain amount of integrity to the decay of something, especially when that decay hosts new life and very complex life. And it's wonderful to see the animals kind of making a home in parts of the cemetery that are very habitable to them. Some of these graves are incredibly old, and the writing, some of them is fading to where it's almost illegible. Some of them are cracked open, and you look inside for bones, and you see twigs and leaves, and a reminder of the new things that are there. I certainly, if I'm ever buried in the ground and I have something to me, I would want it to just be eaten by moss and vines and berry bushes, and just, to become a home for other things. There's a lot to think about in the cemetery as far as that kind of design goes, and the choices that are made in service of the dead, and honoring and putting memorial, and in service of the new, in the wild nature that is there and lives there. And this place is a bit of a sanctuary in a city, and is a very just large green space where a lot of things live. So you really feel that when you're walking around. You feel the hyper abundant presence of life, which is an interesting dichotomy there. After some of this wandering, you can take a little trail of very small graves, kind of lined on either side. It's very amusing. I like this part a lot. And you can loop as much as you want and go back out into the street. So it's a very long way to get coffee, but it serves as just an excellent cleanse of the self. You go in one way, you're all grouchy, and then you come out and you've just been baptized by the eternal cycle of life. The gothic romantic effect has taken place. The 6% heebie-jeebies has worked, and now you can walk alongside the cemetery and go through another neighborhood to the high street. On the high street, I just stepped into a small little cafe for a slice of banana bread, an orange juice, and an espresso, because it's a hot time here and I need a little hot coffee but also a little cold drink, so I got both. There's always an option for us to pop around the corner to the Salvation Army. It's just a few steps away, and make some purchases of some vintage t-shirts. Be careful though, this Salvation Army knows what they have, and if there's a great vintage t-shirt like an old Diesel shirt or a Dickies vintage, they will charge you for it. You can't blame them though, because it's just a fantastic cause, and this Salvation Army in particular is just delightful and divine, and they deserve it, so what can you do? Now, we are back in my little office here. It sounds like actual Grand Theft Auto outside. There are military helicopters, sirens, motorcycles, yelling, and we're back. We are so back at, I think it's 5:30 p.m. in a city where everyone's commuting. So it was so wonderful though to go to Nunhead and walk through the cemetery, which is just peace on earth, totally free, and then walk through the neighborhood to go get a coffee. All of that is totally enough, and it's just wonderful. It is the perfect day. So how healing is that when you can't be bothered for anything else, or to even think about anything else, and you don't want to go out in the GTA. It's so nice to go to Nunhead. So thank you so much for joining me. Where are we gonna go next? I don't know, but certainly we will get up to another adventure. So I will wish you good night if you are going to sleep. But Good.